Was it good? Far away.
Brad, what do you make of the game overall?
Yeah, I thought it was a really good performance by our guys. I mean, I thought we defended really well. I mean, I think that Brisbane obviously had some issues early with Hanley and Beams pulling out, which made it harder for them. And their key forwards are quite young generally, so but we didn't for a second think that they didn't have enough talent. And for our football club, I mean, we haven't had a win up here for a decade, so it's we spoke about it a lot during the week. Boomer himself spoke about it a lot. That we've come up here and flown home with our tails between our legs, so we really needed to respond. And on the back of some good effort in the contest and really good defensive efforts, we got the job done.
Is that getting a bit closer towards the footy that you think you can play and that you'd like to play? Yeah,
it is. It is. I think we've been steadily building. I thought the Geelong game a few weeks ago was really good. I think we're starting to get some continuity both with personnel and style of play, and so I mean, from that part of things, I thought we were really happy. But Brisbane have some really dangerous players, and they're capable of some really good footy. Obviously they've got some challenges with youth and injury, but the players they have got are really dangerous, and they've hurt us a lot in the past, and we were able to neutralise that for the most part tonight, which was the most pleasing thing.
Did you have any concerns at half-time about over-possession of the footy and handball to kick ratio perhaps being a bit out of whack, or was that more of a reflection of Brisbane putting more pressure on that second quarter? They did win that quarter.
Yeah, I thought their pressure lifted. I thought we tried to respond to that by working our way through that rather than just accepting that their pressure was good and we needed to get the ball forward a bit quicker. But in the past, we've really struggled to respond to that and to change things up. And we made some adjustments structurally at half time, but that don't mean anything unless the players respond. So you're spot on. We overused the ball too much in the second half. Succumbed a bit to Brisbane's pressure and allowed their crumbing, line-breaking forwards to have an impact.
How did you assess your big forwards, Brad? Like Drew and Ben Brown had good games, and you subbed Jared Wade off. Like how did all that sort of pan out for you? Yeah, well, we were happy enough with Wade. Last week it was a good example. Wade didn't have a great offensive game, but his defensive game was outstanding, and he brought that again tonight. We just thought it was dewy, and the ball was really hard to mark for any key forward. And even though Drew looked like the most dangerous key forward on the ground, but I thought that Ben Brown and Drew did what they needed to do. Drew was, as I said, the dominant key forward on the ground, and it was pretty fortunate that we had Lindsay Thomas there ready to go as a sub, as a small forward, and I thought he had an impact when he came on.
Look, you don't have him sitting here next year, but we can't really let this presser go without talking about Boomer. How did you rate his game to start with?
Oh, he did what he does. If he wasn't the best player on the ground to half time, he was, and even he was certainly very close to the best on the ground at full time. So he's an icon of our club, and he keeps performing. We keep discussing about what is best for the football team and how we need to play our best footy. And Boomer, is at 400 games and in his late 30s, he's like another coach, but a gun player as well. So he's an unbelievably valuable commodity for us.
Obviously, it's been a focus for us in the media because it's such a rare achievement. To what degree was he a focus for you ahead of the game? I'm sure that the players would have wanted to do the right thing by him, that goes without saying, but did you make him a focus at all in the lead?
Oh, we did, but we always brought it back to the team. So I think that externally people really want to make it all about the individual, and I understand that, and we certainly celebrated the unbelievable achievement that playing 400 games is, and we did make a focus that it was a really important night for our football club. But that can be pretty hollow when you don't win the game of footy. And after all, it is, and that's the difference between individual sports and team sports. You know, that you can have great individual efforts, great individual players, but when you're part of a team, it's always got to come back to the team. And I'm really fortunate because Boomer led that discussion this week, not me.
I think there's a stat showing that he's won every milestone game. What does that say about your club, I guess?
Yeah, it says a lot about the club, but I think it says equally as much about him. I think that, you know, while it is about the team, it's, like I said, the celebration of a milestone is pretty hollow when you lose. So I reckon it's a reflection on Boomer himself that, you know, his 21 teammates want to get out there and perform for him. And, you know, I think I said to the players after the game, in life, you know, the respect of your peers is almost the ultimate honour, and the way they get up for him, I think, reflects that respect.
His disposals are as clean as any at that age. Does that sort of amaze you?
Oh, he's amazed me for a long time because well, for a start, he makes me feel pretty ordinary because I'm only 2 years older than him. I couldn't do what he was doing 10 years ago, or ever. But I mean, I couldn't even physically do what he's doing. So, yeah, he's a marvel in that regard, and that's I think in part you can't ignore the genetic part of it. But if you know, I always implore our players to observe him really closely because his preparation's second to none, and he's just. Yeah, the way he keeps on, he's up there with the most driven athletes I've ever seen.
This is not to be disrespectful to either of you, but is it up to him whether he goes on or you?
Well, I think it's mutual. You know, I don't think these you know, decisions are taken lightly, but those decisions will be made in due course. I really want, you know, tonight to be about celebrating his 400th. You know, I think that's what we want it to be about. I answered some questions during the week about it. Probably shouldn't have. You know, we'll celebrate the milestone, and you know, we'll discuss list management in October.
Thanks, Brad. Thanks, everybody.